Thanks for coming out. Somebody broke in, but all that was missing were the Polaroids. The scene of the crime could be anywhere at any time. And I'm always salivating about the maniac responsible. I know that to attack is merely the desire to free oneself from infatuation. I know that a sharp stick in the eye kills the devil in the soul every time. And after night, those hollow screams are echoing out through that deserted parking lot, that paper oasis of lottery dreams. And I'm always lacerating myself with memories and the demented visions of some woe-begotten messenger of the Lord is probably living down at the Hangover Hotel, trying to get ahead. But you know how it is now. You make a quick jaunt down to the corner store to pick up a six-pack of beer, a bottle of Jack Daniels, a bottle of aspirins for after the party, maybe a couple of dozen condoms, and suddenly you're going to be brought down by about, I don't know, 200,000 lei or 55 euros, and all you're going to be left with is your dreams, and you're going to be dreaming amongst drunks. You're going to be remembering the way it used to be, the way it used to be shit, the way it still fucking is for some of us. Dirty, cheap deeds, sloppily executed on sheetless mattresses, bringing secrets to the surface with blood and alcohol. And speaking of alcohol, I know you like to drink a lot in this town. What the fuck else is there to do? So maybe tomorrow, some of you are going to wake up with a hangover the size of the Mississippi or the Danube, and you're going to be wondering, what the hell did I do? Who did I do it with? How did I get here? Who picked me up and who the hell dropped me off? You're going to be digging that same ditch you've been digging your whole life. You know, the one that you just about kicked yourself into. You're going to say, I know it was some kind of bouncer last night. Maybe somebody who plays a bouncer on the weekends down at Lazy Louie's late night bar and grill. You're going to say somebody broke in, but all that was missing were the Polaroids, and the scene of the crime could be anywhere at any time. Finally, we've got the music, we've got the video working, everything's great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much, Hedvig, for bringing me. Thanks for coming out. I know it's no longer snowing, but it's awfully fucking ugly out there, isn't it? It is. It's gonna get uglier as the night goes on, don't worry. You know, I noticed a lot of security cameras in the street today. And I realized that freedom, as William Burroughs once said, freedom is just a hallucination. Freedom is just a hallucination created by a pathological lack of paranoia. Now, the question isn't whether you're paranoid, it's whether you're paranoid enough. The question isn't whether you're paranoid, it's whether you're paranoid enough. Because about 300 times a day, they've got your face on the CCTV. I mean, when you go home, you think you're watching TV if you've got cable, but TV is watching you. Oh, yes, it is. I mean, you're watching me, I'm watching you, they're watching us. It's like having eyes in the back of our fucking head. I mean, they're tracking us everywhere I go. Every time you're on your cell phone, and I know you love your cell phones and your SMS. Yeah, I see the way you use them here. Everyone loves their cell phone, but please realize, my friends, they're fucking tracking you on your cell phone. I mean, the internet is monitored. Thank you, fucking Google and Yahoo, you corporate censors. Oh yeah. They're tracking you every time you buy a Metro card, every time you're in a taxi, or you use the GPS. Now, I'm sure a few of you have dogs, and there's probably a chip in your goddamn dog. They've got a chip in your goddamn dogs. I don't think they chip cats, do they? No. Cat ladies, we're safe for now. Every time you use your bank card or your credit card, if you can afford one, every time you go to the ATM, they're tracking what you buy. Every time you go to the pharmacy, it's like a goddamn viral disease. It's like two giant eyes in outer space. I'm watching you, you're watching me, they're watching us. Freedom! It's just a hallucination. It's just a pathological lack of paranoia. And you know, America, I thought the UK was bad, but we got the Patriot Act. We have Homeland Security. We're the ones that invented biometric passports, holograms on your driver's license. Every time you pass through the airport and you're scanned, thanks George W. motherfucking Bush, the first one who's on my list of world terrorists. How long would it take to walk yourself to death? Would you shoot a hole in your own hand and drink your own blood if the only sign of life left was what was left of your own? I would. I know that escape is essential, and I constantly flee to avoid capture. To temporarily outrun retribution, I strive to calculate the distance of miles between the past and the future. I know it's a futile attempt to try to manipulate the amount of time I will spend stuck in this permanent limbo. And I know that freedom is just a solitary state of grace. It's an oasis, glistening somewhere off in the distant horizon where the shackles that bind have been blown to bits by the bull end of a Tommy gun. But can anyone ever truly be free? Can anyone ever truly be free? If you can't shake off your own shadow, if you can't kill off your own bitter memories or brutal delusions. You know, I feel as if I exist in an insomniac's theater of dream states and nightmares. I feel as if I'm haunted by an army of vagrant ghosts and invisible enemies who stalk and make ruin everything in their wake. And the desert, which is why I live in Spain, the desert speaks to the fugitive in me, that godless Godman. I feel so isolated and alone. I feel as if I'm in a twilight hell of my own making, as if I'm eternally hunting. Like some kind of mysterious apparition with a burning desire to obliterate everything and everyone. I feel like a one-man holocaust full of infinite destruction, and if I could, I would. I'd render the landscape not blood red, but burnt umber, patina, which speaks of desolation, which speaks of the absence of color, the absence of life, that empty husk of an eternal hollow. And the desert is just a barren panorama from which all life has been leached. It makes me feel as I probably truly am, like a man, a murderer, alone, imprisoned in thought, hounded as if by locusts, as if by a numbing, dumbing, mumbling din of subterranean rumble, where I'm just trying to escape this lifetime of despicable secrets, forever murmuring just out of earshot. I am that man, that murderer. I am alone, I'm ruptured, I'm ruined like a magnificent wreck far south of no north. And if I look to you as I truly am, if I look to you as I truly am, you would no longer be able to see me because I would have been blown away upon that desert shore. Blown away just like sand upon the desert floor. In this battlefield where I'm pitted against myself, pitted against my memories and their recriminations, my brutality and its empty other. And from this siege, there is no fitful sleep, there is no rest, there is just an unfinished limbo in which I wander. How long would it take to walk yourself to death? Would you shoot a hole in your own hand? I would. It takes a master alchemist. It takes a master alchemist. It takes an encyclopedic understanding of narcotics and psychotropics. It takes an encyclopedic understanding of narcotics and psychotropics. I'm still searching for the drug. I'm still searching for the drug. I'm still searching for a new drug, better drugs. I wish they would invent some new drugs. I wish they'd invent something to take me out of this lunar landscape which I seem to inhabit. Now, like most women, I can be extremely moody. I mean, my moods, well, let's put it this way. My daily battle cave is just deciding which mood is going to come next. I mean, inside this schizophrenia, it's as if chaos clobbers apathy, which beats the shit out of depression, which slams into irritability, which crashes into anger, because after all, I'm just looking for that state of ecstasy. And ecstasy slips through my fingers far too often. Ecstasy slips through my fingers far too often. And it does take some kind of voodoo, Santeria, brujeria. It takes macumba, sleight of hand, tarot. It takes a magic trick. I'm just searching for a way out. I'm just searching for a way in. I'm searching for the answer to a question that doesn't fucking exist. I'm searching for somebody, for anybody that really fucking gets me, man. You know, I'm looking for somebody who doesn't know a goddamn thing about me at all. Somebody that's got no fucking idea about who or what I am, but they know what they want because I know what I fucking want. So basically, I'm just searching for somebody who reminds me of myself. Yeah, I'm just searching for the drug. I'm just searching for the drug. Because like so many of you other women, I'm a moody fucking bitch. Yeah. Was full of poets, I just knew it was. He said, I know the oxygen that we breathe in. He said, I am the oxygen that we breathe. He said, I was like a dirty white honeysuckle, stained with night's runoff. He said, I was like the night, I was like the night, running off like the night. A sickly green-gray pus forms out of another nuclear tape, transmits life-death rays to my brain, which accelerates my faded pulse and shoots through my bloodstream like a static bolt of electricity. It makes everything look hollow, life-size, ghosted images of what real once was. I'm not sure I know what real is anymore. I'm not sure I know. I'm sleeping with his memory. I'm sleeping with his memory. If I roll my eyes back far enough in my head, that ain't just a sliver of white, like a cracked crescent moon, kiss the morning light somewhere under my veiny bloodshot eyes, like a 5 and dime storefront gypsy fortune teller. I will zero in on him and read his last thought, and it will scare the living shit out of me. He was like a sick shark, isolated in a prison of pain. His loneliness tasted of sand and sewer drains, of day-old beer and broken promises, of black eyes and broken bones, of bloody rags wrapped around his temple. He always had this bloody rag wrapped around his temple. He said he was just soaking up the fallout because the body was a battlefield. He said the body was like a battlefield. The body was just a sack of pus and cum. The body was just a canvas to be battered until it was broken. He said the body was meant to be trampled under by his big black boots. Stormtroopers, always kicking the shit out of the enemy within. He was always waging war against himself, against me, but mostly against that scared little boy who would cower in the corners late at night, waiting for his mommy to kamikaze in from the demilitarized zone. Now I know you're gonna relate to this, sister, because some days Some days I wake up and I just wanna be the laziest bitch in the whorehouse. I just wanna be there, legs spread wide, lucky strike dangling from my cock-stained scarlet lips. Eyes on the alarm clock, remembering all of those beautiful young soldiers who had come to pump into me like bullets fired at point-blank range, and I'll just be visualizing my own funeral. It'll be a century-long samba filled with boys of every description. I mean, after all, welcome, my friends, to the killing zone of false memory. And all of these secrets, I mean, they're not really secrets anymore, and they're probably gonna stay in your fucking recollection, but that's cool. I mean, after all, in my church, the sins of the flesh are just a sacrifice to Venus. I mean, passion plays itself out in the killing zone of false memory. I know. When you get to my age, I mean, there's something about young boys and how fine their bones are. You know, young boys, they've got those fine bones, and the thought of shattering their fucking bones under my own need, my own disease. You know, with young boys, they've got no war under the belt. It's like having a night off from playing night nurse in the trauma unit, of constantly nursing damaged junkies back to health, yeah. These days, everybody is looking for a belly to cry on. Some days you just want to wake up and sing a sexy little song into a sexy little boy's ear, knowing it's going to go on one hole and straight back out the other. That's alright, though. The moon calls your name. It's like a shot in the dark. Night is just you and drunken of thought. You are the taste on everyone's lips. It's like a burning like amber that starts from within. Some days I just wanna be the laziest bitch in the fucking whorehouse. Yellow sheet of paper, it said wanted for, but I can't remember what he was wanted for. But I know that I wanted him. I wanted him even before I knew it was him that I wanted. It was like getting lost in a film loop. It was like a lock groove. Maybe I've just seen one too many late night black and white film noirs, like Strangers on a Train, Nightmare Alley, Naked City, Gun Crazy, Double Indemnity, The Fugitive Kind. Vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. With him, it was like an ideal reflection of who he thought I was, mirrored in the drowning pool of his own eyes. And he had beautiful eyes like my own beautiful eyes which lie, beautiful eyes which lie. In my eyes, I can drain them of everything except for heat and desire. I remember when he was constantly trying to reinvent himself again and again, picking up the derelict pieces of shattered dreams. He was trying to make peace with the enemy inside him. He was trying to make peace with the empty promises and endless threats before the malevolence and the violence was a magnetic firestorm, a spontaneous combustion. And I know that he was hell-bent on murdering the invisible enemy inside of him, but the killer inside of me has a mind of her fucking own. And before I knew it, my hands were around his fucking neck, and his neck was broken in 3 different fucking pieces. And maybe it's just because I've seen one too many late-night film noirs like Strangers on a Train, Rope, Fire Walk with Me, The Fugitive Kind, The Naked City, The Naked and the Dead. Vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. You know, there comes a point. You have to admit there comes a point in every relationship where nothing seems to make sense anymore. It just doesn't make sense. You're beyond reason. And what once was no longer is. And you no longer are. And the more you think you know, the less you seem to comprehend. And he didn't know me. He couldn't know me. I wouldn't fucking let him. And the killer inside of me has a mind of her fucking own. And before I knew it, my hands were around his fucking neck, and his neck was broken in 3 different pieces, and they'll never find the body. They'll never find the body, because vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. But you could be next. You could be next. You could be the next one to be found, vivisected, cut in 2, and left in a trunk on the side of some shit-stained road because some sick and twisted little mama's boy can no longer get it up anymore on just the flesh and bones alone, but he needs the blood, the life blood. And I can understand the need to murder. Oh, I can understand the need to murder. But why is it always the daughters? Why is it always the daughters of the mothers and fuckers who condemn men to murder in the first place that get slaughtered? And I can understand. Little boys, they don't start out wanting to grow up to be madmen or maniacs or serial killers. Maybe they were just abandoned as little boys and left with a babysitter who was stoned on acid and finger fucking herself off on the next room while talking to her boyfriend on the telephone while mommy and daddy, or daddy dearest, were down at the local bar getting shit-faced so that they could come home and batter into submission and castration all the little boys that didn't want to grow up. They didn't want to grow up to be madmen or monsters, but were just carrying on in the family tradition. And in some families, abuse is the tradition. And I understand. I understand little boys that were probably murdered first by their mothers, by their fathers, who through neglect and negation, abuse and battery, abandoned the little baby psyche into wishing they were never born at all. They didn't want to be born, they didn't ask to fucking be born. But now they're treated out, they have to act like a fucking man. They have to act like a man who was murdered in self-sacrifice. They've got to be tough. They've got to be tough. They've got to take it as well as they can dish it out. And I pity them. I'm so sorry because men have it just as bad as women, because they're fucking bullied into being a macho representation of some fucking asshole that is the image of man in general, who's ruined the whole fucking planet. So I pity all of you boys and men who are probably battered on the football field, brought down to one knee, called a weirdo or a faggot because you didn't fucking fit in, because you didn't wear the Nike swastika, because you were a little bit fucking different. Now, when I was a teenager, you could be proud of being a fucking freak. There was some kind of badge and honor of being a weirdo. Now all you are is battered into being conformist. All those schoolyard snipers. You know, America invented the schoolyard sniper, but we also invented the video games, which have programmed their motor functions to pull the fucking trigger. Pull the fucking trigger. West Paducah, Kentucky, Springfield, Oregon, Jonestown, Arkansas, Moses Lake, Washington, Littleton, Colorado, Virginia Tech, Columbine. Sacrificial lost lambs, suicided by society. And men, I do pity you. I'm so sorry. Who's trapped inside an endless limbo, who feels drawn and quartered in the darkness, dirty puppets of the prophet, of the pain gods or creation, where the devil is a woman, the devil is a drug, the devil is a fiend, the devil is an endless need to feed, the devil is the loneliness inside your head that never ends, that makes you feel as if you should pick up the fucking gun, or the needle, or the noose. What if every song is sung, every song I sing is almost like a literary autopsy, a funereal prayer to all the dirty little puppets, victims of the pain god's own creation, who feel drawn and quartered in the darkness. So before you pick up the needle, or the noose, or the gun, I know about the loneliness that never ends, the ticking inside your head like a fucking bomb that's ever ready to go off. Just listen to your little song, because all the freaks and weirdos and lonely and depressed and outcast and those that feel ugly and born into a society will never recognize your beauty. I recognize your fucking beauty. You're here with me now. How fucking beautiful is that? Occidental, the ghosts of all those that could have been, should have been, leave a Vaseline smeared lipstick smudge on the rearview mirror's busted glass. I'm about as lonely as one left shoe with a broken ankle strap pitched out the window of the Starlight Motel. And there's no drug potent enough to kill off that vision of him, that sour tumbleweed of honeyed hair that smelt of dirty sex and cigarettes. It's like his kisses burnt into my lips, and I know he's just a faded hologram, just slightly out of focus, and I keep reaching for his mouth, forgetting about how the night bled out, turning an angel into a beautiful corpse who curses his memory, and he's just a mirage. He's just a mirage, crushing me. I'm lingering in and out of consciousness. The dream drugs must be working. He slowly rises like a desert rat crawling on all fours. He must be mustering the strength of dead men everywhere. He rushes up against me. He slinks into me. He sinks into me. He's in my skin. In protest, but my breath is turned to dust. My bones are hollow husks. I have a soft spot for him. I have a soft spot for him. Kisses on the razor's edge. Kisses on the razor's dry whispers, lips as thin as paper cuts. He's mouthing instructions which I will fight with all my will. He's saying, pick up the snub nose, pick up the snub nose, a small caliber 45. He's just a mirage. He's just a mirage. I've become the caretaker to the endless obsidian night, that grave digger of crushed dreams. I'm like a mortician's reanimator of broken hearts, but he's just a mirage. He's just a mirage. Late night lost, stranded on a corner of Sunset and Occidental, the ghosts of all those that could have been, should have been, leave a Vaseline smeared lipstick smudge on the rearview mirror's broken crack. This is for the ghosts. This is for the ghosts of Toledo, Guernica, Mazuca, Barcelona, Madrid, Cuenca, Burgos. This is for the dead and dying. This is for the dead and the dying. This is for the war-torn and the battle-fatigued. This is for the war-torn and the battle-fatigued. This is for the widows and orphans. This is for the widows and orphans of warriors. This is for the warriors. This is for the warriors. This is for the warriors who are willing to die for their beliefs, who are willing to die because they believed it is better to die fighting for freedom than to live a life full of lies. And this is for those who believe. This is for those who believe. And you better believe, you better believe, you better believe in ghosts, because soon enough, you too will become a ghost. This is for the ghosts of Fallujah and our province, Abu Ghraib, Bakuba, Guantanamo, Gaza, Beirut, Baghdad, Bosnia-Herzegovina, East Timor, Kabul, Kandahar, Jalalabad, Islamabad, Kathmandu, Mogadishu, Darfur, Sierra Leone. This is for the freedom fighters. This is for the freedom fighters. This is for the freedom fighters, the insurgents, the rebels, the rabble-rousers, and for every individual who fights against tyranny and oppression. This is for the martyrs. This is for the martyrs. This is for the martyrs. This is for Mohammed Mossadegh, Salvador Allende, Oscar Romero, Teo Bando, Federico Pasolini, Federico Garcia Lorca, Pasolini, Bruno Schultz, Madeline Marie O'Hare. This is for the wounded and the traumatized. This is for the survivors. This is for anyone who feels as if they're suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, which I feel like I am suffering from every fucking day of my life, after having fought a lifetime of the enemy's abuse and lies and hypocrisy. I'm in battle mode every fucking day, just so I can maintain a tenuous grip on my own sanity. This is for the ghosts of Brooklyn, the Bronx, Detroit, Watts, Inglewood, Oakland, St. Louis, New Orleans, Memphis, Trenton, Youngstown, Cleveland, Camden, Baltimore, Newark, Little Rock, Tulsa, Baton Rouge. This is for anyone who feels they were born invisible to life, who feels as if they were born into a war zone of poverty and desperation or neglect. And if you come from a country like mine, it's one that glamorizes violence, threatens by massacre, and arrogantly brags about committing genocide, ethnic cleansing, and wholesale slaughter. If you come from America, which I am exiled from on purpose by design and choice, before I am executed from that fucking hypocrisy of democracy, where war is peace, slavery is freedom, might makes right, and God is great, yet God is a great sadistic warlord in whose name murder and madness has become a higher fucking calling. This is for the heroes of forgetfulness. This is for everyone who would just like to forget about the war. It's not my war. I just want to forget. Well, I wish I could fucking forget, but I can't forget the ghosts. Because I believe in ghosts. Oh, I believe in ghosts. Because I realize that soon enough, I too will become a ghost. So I guess this is for me. This is for my fucking ghost. And I can assure you, my ghost will not be silent. It's just too much electricity, too much energy, too much passion. So I guess you could say I am a ghost. And it's all down to electricity, energy, matter, motion. All creation bears the molecular memory of a terrible explosion of white light and white heat. And I do understand violence. I understand violence because violence was the first act of creation, the Big fucking Bang. Chaos is the law of nature. Chaos is the law of nature. It's the score upon which reality has been written. The universe is just geometry stricken with epilepsy. And I'm just a convulsionary suffering from episodic fits of frenzy. I realize that whoever creates demands destruction, that to some of us, especially us Americans, violence is as natural as breathing. And I admit it. The American way of life has turned me into a death-defying murder junkie. I'm drunk on disasters, calamities, casualties. I'm high on bombs bursting in air, rifles ricocheting off the bellies of pregnant women, crippled children poisoned on a school bus, shopping mall murders, crumbling cities polluted beyond repair, craters of despair in the eyes of men, women and children, their brains rotted by the cathode glare of the TV, the internet. I mean, after all, it's a wild world. It's a wild world. It's a wild world. It's a wild world. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. The whole world's gone wild. The whole world's gone fucking wild, man. They turned the whole world into a ghetto. You're not alone on that front. The whole world is a fucking ghetto. A whorehouse, an orphanage, a refugee camp, a sweatshop, a slaughterhouse, a bomb factory, a landmine, a butcher shop, a shooting gallery, an insane asylum, a gas chamber, a toxic fucking dump. And all the killers are heroes. All the killers are heroes. All the killers are heroes. All my heroes are killers. All my heroes are killers. And I myself am filled with a murderous fucking rage. It's like gang warfare waged under my skin. It's like a battle of bitches boxing to get their way out. I feel as if I have become the rapist. I have become the rapist whose impotence at annihilating the real killers has turned me into causing violence against myself and anyone else who gets in my fucking way. Now, if you think I'm fucking hostile, you've got no fucking clue, man. You've got no fucking clue. I'm holding it all together. I'm holding it all together. I'm just passionate. I'm a passion killer. I'm a passion killer, riddled with criminal urges. I've gotten inside the enemy's head. He's sleeping in my fucking bed. The enemy's gotten inside my head. He's sleeping in my fucking bed. My war. My war. My war. My war. You're one of them. It's not my fucking war. It's not my fucking war. It's not your fucking war. My war. My war has always been the battle of the sexes. One woman against every man. You either want to fight me or you want to fuck me. And face it, baby, either way you're going to get fucking hurt. Come on. Yeah. My war! And I figure the more they kill, the more I fuck. The more they kill, the more I fuck. Because after all, I could be the next one. I could be the next one. I could be the next one to have a bomb drop on their fucking head. And I know that if the bomb drops on my head, I'm going to die with a smile on my face. Snorting 6 lines of cocaine, taking MDMA, smoking a fat joint, drinking cognac, and gangbanging. That's me gangbanging. 6 returning Iraqi war veterans, amputees preferably. Somebody's got to take care of the fucking vets, man. Send me the vets. I'll take care of the vets. 200,000 Vietnam vets on the street of Texas. Do you think that beige puppet Barack Obama gives a shit about them? Or his forefather George W. fucking Bush? Send me the vets, man. Welcome to my church, where pleasure is the only true rebellion left. Thank you very much for coming out. Stop the music. Thank you very much. Pepe, you're my hero. I had a great time there. Really appreciate it.